sure it goes through. Alrighty, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our parenting live chat. My name is Gabby, joined here with Common Sense parenting expert Bridget Barnes, and we are here to go live again, just as we do every month. And this month's topic is all about coping skills. So, whether you have young kids or teenagers, coping skills is definitely something that we all need to learn and practice in our daily lives, even as adults. And we're going to go through and talk about all the coping skills that can help your child in a multitude of situations. So, if you're watching live and you have a question related to coping skills, go ahead and leave it in the comments of this video and we can answer live at the end. Or if you're watching this video later on, maybe tonight or in the next few days, maybe you find this video 6 months or a year from now when you're in need of some coping skills. You can always message our page if you have any remaining questions, and make sure you like this video. Bridget, how are you doing today?
Well, beautiful day today, 80 degrees here, so I'm enjoying it. It's really odd in September in Nebraska, but we're enjoying the day. Yeah, thanks for
Yes,
asking.
savoring the last moments of summer as kids head back to school.
Yeah.
So, starting with the younger demographic, Bridget, what coping skills are appropriate for younger children?
Well, of course, there's no perfect coping skill for children of any age, to be quite honest with you. Kids are growing and developing and changing, and they all do that at their own rate. And so it's always just a good idea for parents to have a variety of coping skills based on their children, because you could have 2, 3-year-olds and one is operating at one point and another, at another point. So I just think it have a variety. So in our classes, our parenting classes, we ask parents to create a kind of a toolbox of coping skills for kids, simple strategies that kids can use, I have a couple of them here at my desk. A little stress ball that they could use for muscle relaxation. Squeeze it really tight for a count and then let it go. Um, you hear it's, oh, look at that, a little wind thing that they could use. Take a deep breath in for a count of 4 and then out for a count of 8. Kind of simple things like that. Kind of refocusing their thinking, like focusing on something else other than the thing that was making them mad, like somebody took their toy, and just looking at this thing drip down slowly. So just there's a lot of little tools, just maybe no physical thing, but maybe just finger touches, whatever helps your kid, is my answer to that. So there, I wish I could tell you at this age, use this one thing and it's gonna work. No, it's gonna be different for every kid.
Mhm. Yes, definitely. Good to have a few on hand, which we'll
Yeah.
talk about several options. So when kids, prior to learning the coping skills, often
Mhm.
they're in situations where they are having those negative thought patterns, whether it's surrounding friendships or issues at school. Maybe they're seeing things on the news that are upsetting or on social media. When kids are in those negative thought patterns, how can we help them break them?
Well, it's real normal for kids to get into a negative thought pattern. I mean, it's all of us kind of fall into that, and the more we get into social media, it can lead us there, maybe cutting back on that a little bit if they find themselves getting up there on social media and just falling into that negative spiral. It's just limiting that a little bit until they can pull themselves out of that, and just not being inundated with that all the time. I think, giving kids affirmation statements. Right now, I'm at my desk, and up on my little bulletin board in front of me where I do all my typing are statements like, I know I'm in my own world, but I know people there. Or thanks for being all that in a bag of chips. Be bold. So I even have to keep that positive affirmation in the front of me in my mind. And so having a picture I have right in front of me of a positive time in my life where I felt really good about myself is there. So giving that to kids, whether it's up on their mirror as they're getting ready in the morning, or it's in their wallet if they're a teenager. This statement that just really helps them to say, okay, I'm okay and everything will be okay. It might not be right now, but it will be, and I'm all right.
Definitely. Very good. What coping exercises could older kids or teenagers do at school to help them cope in a moment of struggle?
Yeah, at school, sometimes it's hard to, have something, like this little pinwheel out. That's not going to work. But having some simple things that kids can do. And I kind of have like five coping skills that I offer to kids, and then they can decide what's going to work well for them. But go up to our parenting.org site for coping skills. There are really some cool things up there. But the five that I suggest to parents are like problem solving skills. If kids have those problem solving skills, and we call this the SOTUS method up on our site, it is a very step by step way for kids to kind of refocus and to think of other ways to deal with issues. So, problem solving skills like that, um, emotional control skills like that calm down kit, having that tool as well. Making meaning, kind of a skill. We use giving kids child oriented reasons for them to kind of understand what is happening, why is it happening, that kind of thing. Um, Social support skills, knowing how to get help, how to ask for help, which is a social skill that we teach kids, but also where are my resources? Who are the people that I can count on? Is it my bestie or no, not really? It's this other person over here. And then religious coping skills, spiritual, um, social, traditional skills that I put in place in my life so I feel more grounded, I feel more connected, I feel like there's some place that I can go even when my parents aren't near me. So, those five coping skills, problem solving skills, emotional control skills, making meaning skills, social support skills, and religious coping skills are just things I offer to parents, and kids might use one or two or all of them depending on their needs.
Yes. And if you want to dig into any of those specific coping skills a little bit further that Bridget mentioned, you can see on this video we have our parenting.org website. And from there, you can search coping skills right at the top and find and explore lots of different ones to see what works best for your kid. Wonderful. So sometimes, when we learn these coping skills, we provide them to our kid, and then it can be hard as a parent, we want to comfort them and help them through whatever the struggle is that they're going through in the moment. But, you know, it's a fine line, Bridget, where parents are wondering,
Mhm.
should we give them more space when they're working through the problem, or be right alongside them, and kind of talking about how to help them problem solve and use their coping skills and get through it on their own, but still being a guiding presence. How do you kind of navigate that?
Well, that's a great question. Most
Mhm.
question that most parents really grapple with. When do I step in, and when do step away and let my child deal with this challenge? And I would say my take on that is that I look at a child's developmental ability, their maturity, their ability in that area. I mean, if they're very young, they're not going to have the skill set to developmentally to really cope with certain situations, while others, they may be able to. Um, and also their coping skills. What have I taught, and what have they been able to demonstrate, learn, and apply? Uh, would be my two kind of, their developmental ability and the coping skills that they have. Okay, yes, they can deal with this issue. I need to be supportive. I need to be encouraging, but I'm going to step away and let the child, on the playground decide, these kids are doing this and I'm in the area and I want to play with this, but this kid doesn't want me to do that. How, what coping skill can I deal with that? I'm going to calm myself down. I'm going to use a calm voice. I'm going to make my statement to this kid. And if he doesn't, I'm going to look for resources and look for help. If my kid has that ability, then I'll stand back and let them utilize that. If they don't, I've got a teenager who has some bad acting. peers, and hasn't been making good decisions in regards to that, because of their, social media interaction. Maybe I am going to give them a little bit more support and some boundaries on some of their behavior until they can develop those skills. So kids really tell you. Kids tell you all the time how much parenting they need. Some kids need a little bit more, and other kids need a little bit less. It's important for parents to listen and to be observant of what their kids need and then to apply that.
Definitely. So when bringing up the idea of coping skills,
Mhm.
maybe this is a parent's watching and takes something from this video afterwards and wants to talk to their child about that. How do we bring it up and bridge the subject for that?
Yeah, it reminds me of a mom I was working with, and she was going through the class, and she was like, "Bridget, these are all really great, but I've got a teenage boy who is like not having any of it. Everything I say is a fight. It's a bone of contention for him. And I just don't even know where to start with this conversation. And I totally get it. When it comes to our kiddos, this conversation can be very difficult. And I just ask her to use what I call like the three C's of communication with kids. One is just to show you care. Uh, and how you do that is just listen and lean in. Listen to them without interruption, without judgment. Show that I care about what you have to say and what your feelings are. I might not agree with all of them, and I might think there's a better way to go about it, but I'm going to listen. I'm gonna be calm. The other C is just, the calmness that you bring to the situation that helps the kid kind of level out and say, okay, this is not as big, or maybe, because how my mom is responding or how my dad is responding with this calm approach. Even though inside I might be like, oh my God. But on the outside, I am like, okay, well, I hear what you're saying. What else? How do you feel? That kind of thing. And then clarity. Sometimes kids say things that they don't really mean, and that's not really how they want to go, but helping them identify and clearly think through using some open, closed ended questions to help them understand their own thoughts, versus their emotions at that point in time. So, I think that I really try to make a place where kids can talk and have space to talk to me about things, and to know it's not a one time conversation. Maybe it's going to be broken up into a series of conversations about the same thing, not expecting that the situation is gonna change on a dime. It's gonna, all of a sudden, it's miraculously taken care of. We wish it would be that way, but they're gonna stumble, they're gonna fall, they're going to n- resist us at times. But I need to create this trusting relationship so that when I do give them my advice, they're willing to hear me.
Yes, well said. The next question we have here is what advice would you give to a parent whose child is struggling to find a coping skill that works for them?
Run away. No, I'm kidding.
For that.
Take a nap. Well, there's a lot of good ideas out there, and if you're struggling and you feel like you've tried everything in your toolbox, it's always a good idea to turn to a professional. That's why we have that parenting.org site. We can ask the experts up there for advice. You can turn to our hotline for advice. You can turn to people in your own community, family, friends, and um, a pastor or a priest that you might be working with, or it's just so many other places to kind of get uh, ideas. Not that you do the first thing everybody says, but kind of, get a consensus. Like do a survey and find out what people are thinking, or, and you might pick up on some things. Like I like a little bit of what Jan is saying over here and what Pastor said over here, and I'm going to put that together to fit my kid and my situation. But I would say if you really feel like you need a professional, don't be afraid to turn to one. All of us need help at times. And I know it's sometimes hard as parents to think, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want people to feel like I don't know what I'm doing as a parent. But I'm here to tell you, after many decades of working with parents and hundreds of thousands of parents over the years, that we all need some help. We all need to, look to other people sometimes to, including myself, to get some support. So don't be afraid to do that.
Yes, we are Boys Town Village, and we always say on these chats, it takes a village. And that's why we continue to provide these monthly lives, as well as so many free resources on parenting.org and through boystown.org, because we know that there are so many challenges that parents face, and they seem to change year over year. While many of them stay the same, but there's always new methods and things that are evolving within our network that we want to get the word out about. So help is never far away, and that's for certain. How long should we try out a coping skill before trying a new one?
Well, I would say that depends on the kid. It really does. It's different for every child and their learning curve. So, in general, it's better to give kids more time than less to learn the coping skill, because learning a skill and applying a skill, two different things, and consistently applying it uh, competently or unconsciously competent, where you don't have to think about the skill, you just automatically use it, right? So I think that that's kind of a difficult question to answer, other than it depends on every kid, and um and it's going to take some time. So be okay with the time. Some kids are going to move faster and some kids are going to be a little slower about that. And as parents, sometimes we're going to struggle with being able to teach it and helping kids apply it and reinforce all of that. So be kind to yourself and your kids, um, because they're kids after all, and they all need a little time to for you to teach them, for you to instruct them, to monitor their behavior, and to encourage them.
Yes, definitely. We only have three more questions here for Bridget.
Oh,
So if
sure.
you're watching live and you have a question to ask relating to coping skills, go ahead and leave it in the comments now, just so we can make sure we can see it prior to the live portion concluding. How can you help your child know that managing their feelings is a strength and not a weakness?
Tell them that. I would just say, say those words out loud to them and let them have their own feelings. Don't try to change that for them, or it's okay for them to feel that way. And then, I try to empower them. So what are you going to do? How can I support you in your journey to change the situation? Um, I don't think that I well, I really try to give kids the neutral time or space to um, strengthen their ability and to figure out how to manage their feelings. Right. So I think when kids feel like I have space and I have time, even though it's not really a lot of time, but you're saying, here, I'll give you some time, I'll give you some space. Why don't we, in this nice little thing we have here called the Calm Down Kit, there's a little thing in here called Take 10. And sometimes I just give kids, it's a little yellow card, say Take 10. I put that up and give kids the time, the space to cope, versus everything has to happen now. In this world we are in right now, it's almost like everything has to be instantaneous. Everything needs to be now, 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 now. And no, it does not. You can take a beat, you can take a moment, you can take some time to manage your feelings. And when you do that, you're going to get better at doing it over time.
Yes, and if you're watching on Facebook, I just linked the Calm Down Kit that Bridget showed in the comment section. So if you want to check that out and get one, it is a wonderful resource, and lots of parents have given great feedback on it. So awesome. Okay, so when older kids and teens are feeling peer pressured to do something they don't want to do, which is a situation all teens face, what coping skills can they use in that moment?
Well, what we teach here on the Boys Town campus to kids, are lots of different basic skills that they can use, but two that come to my mind that really help kids in a peer pressure situation when they're feeling like they're being pressured by their friends, or family, or whoever, are problem solving and advocating for oneself. So let's kind of talk about those if we have time.
Mhm.
Problem solving. So the steps are all of our steps usually start with a look at you. Look at the person that you're having a problem with. Don't turn your back on them, but look at them. And that shows a certain confidence, like, and also openness. I'm listening to you. I hear what you're saying. Remain calm. A couple of those deep breaths that we talked about earlier might be a good time for you to do that. Then, identify the disagreement and some options that we have. Like, I hear what you're saying, John. You want to do X, Y, and Z, or you want me to do X, Y, and Z. And, here are some options about what I feel about that. And then consider to yourself what are the consequences for what your friend is telling you to do. Hey, man, let's go over here and do this. And you're like, oh, I don't know about that. It sounds kind of illegal or, immoral or whatever the case may be. And then choose the best strategy for you. Might be just leaving and skying up there at that point in time from John, or it might be talking to John about another option. Let's go to the movies, man. Let's, do this or that. And then be open to other people's viewpoints. Maybe, another kid says, well, let's do so and so. And if it doesn't sound, like it's harmful, or yeah, let's do that. So be okay to give kids these steps because sometimes they just don't know what to do. If they have step by step, okay, I'm supposed to look at the person, I take that deep breath, I identify what's going on here, this the problem. I say, man, if we do that, we might get, in trouble and get locked up over here. And then, hey, well, let's go to the movies. And then, well, hey, man, I don't have any money for that. Well, okay, well, let's go over here and, play some, you know, basketball or whatever. So giving kids that and then practicing it is a good thing, right? Because words are cheap and kids learn by doing. So I definitely act like I'm John. Man, come on, you're just being a wimp. Let's do so and so. You're so stupid. So I say that to kids so they know what to say back because sometimes they get caught off guard by their friends who are pressuring them and they don't have the words. So I give them the words, I give them the steps, and we practice that until they feel a little bit more confident. So when they're in front of John, that they can be able to use that. And then, of course, advocating for oneself, which is similar to that problem solving technique, is just really you being able to say, "This is how I feel about this. I feel differently from you," because kids are all trained to conform. Everybody else is doing this, let's do it. And if a whole group is saying that, for you to advocate for yourself is a big, big skill to be able to do. So it does take some step by step and some practicing for kids to do that. And I don't know if but we have little skill cards and we have social skills up on our Boys Town Press site that people can buy and get that could help kiddos. I mean, they actually have little posters that you could put up and like advocate for oneself. You can put it on the back of your door. And like, if you have a kid who just everything everybody's saying, I'm going to do, I'm a follower, I'm not really going to tell people what I feel. You may want to have that up there and practice with them and have them have that in their face kind of thing. Like I said, for my affirmation, maybe that's the thing they have up on their wall. So I think, really focusing on those two skills. And when kids do those skills in my home, then I'm going to reward that through my praise, through my encouragement, through things that they like to do, definitely. So acknowledging them when they do use it and, encouraging them when they struggle with it. So, yeah, those are the two skills I would suggest: problem solving and advocating for oneself. When everybody seems to be against you, it's okay to say, well, I'm going this other way. That's okay.
Yes. And those are lifelong skills, right? So
It's
very
not, yeah, it's not easy to do that. I mean, we really are trained. I mean, and I've seen myself do it myself where I'm like, why am I at this restaurant? I didn't want this.
yeah,
I wanted to go over here. So I think that we all fall victim to
oh,
not advocating for ourselves. But if you know the steps, there'll be times that we'll go along with everybody else. If it's not harmful to me, then fine. That I just acquiesce to someone else's want. That's great. But when it's something that could be illegal, immoral, it goes against your values and your views, then you'll want to advocate for yourself. So teaching kids when to do that and that they can be assertive without being aggressive.
Mhm. Yes, definitely. Okay, so our last question for this live, Bridget, is what resources would you recommend that parents share with their kids related to coping skills?
Well, we have the app, Your Life, Your Voice,
Yeah.
that I think is the coolest thing. It's a great little
Yes.
tool for teenagers to have. This is not really for younger children, but this one would be great for teenagers. And they can go up and talk to other kids about problem solving issues or peer pressure situations, or they can talk to a trained professional that can kind of talk them through complex situations or difficult issues and get some resources if they need that. So this is a great little app that I think that I would recommend to parents to share with their kids. Um, that would be good. I think that the Boys Town Press has some really great tools, like I'm going to show you this one. It's
Yeah.
called the Get Al Getting Along with Others, sorry, Getting Along with Others. It's a coloring book, and it's so cool, but it's got these really cool little social skills in it that kids can learn, and every time they do that behavior, you can put a sticker on there, or they can just color it in, okay? And that just keeps it in their mind, so every time they do that behavior, they color it in, and, they build that, coping skill of staying calm, or advocating for themselves, or whatever the skill might be, right?
Mhm.
So I think those are great tools for little kids, and then things for older children um, are great things, and so many more that I haven't even begun to touch on. So I
Yeah.
would definitely say go up to parenting.org and key in the search of what you're looking for, and then you're probably going to find either some
Mhm.
downloadables or some other things that you can use with your kiddos, because we don't want to wait till our children are in crisis, till they're making really detrimental decisions that affect the rest of their lives.
Right.
So you have to be more proactive about coping skills. They might not need them today. Some parents might be listening to you and I today and go, well, my kids are not having that problem. That's somebody else's child. And you never know when it's going to be your kiddo. And you don't want to wait until they're in that situation because it's too late to teach it. So this is like anything else that kids have to learn at a neutral time. So when they do need to use it, great. If they never have to use it, which I think we all are going to have to use them, but then at least it's something they have in their toolbox of skills.
Definitely. And I made sure as we were talking, I linked a few of the things. So I linked to the Boys Town Press as well as the new Your Life, Your Voice recently rebooted and relaunched their app. So I put
Oh,
that in the comments too. And then there's contact info for that to look through and share. And as always, parenting.org, as we've mentioned.
look at all that stuff, girl. You just need to use it. That's what.
Yeah, that's the thing. Watch the video and then yeah, go right to the site before you forget. So. Wonderful. Well, Bridget, this has been great as always to chat with you.
Me too. Yeah, I think these are important topics that lots of parents, I hope, will benefit from, and lots of kids as well.
Definitely. Thank you all so much for watching. We will be live again at the beginning of October to talk about the October behavior slump. So make sure you tune in for that. And if you have any requests for topics that you want Bridget and I to discuss, shoot us a message and we're happy to look into doing that for you. Have a great day.
Okay. Bye.